He said the United States would handle it alone. He said America didn't need anyone. He said Iran had been totally decapitated, its military obliterated, its navy on the ocean floor. He said it would be over very soon. And then, on Saturday morning, day 15 of the most expensive American military operation since the Iraq War, Donald Trump woke up and posted on Truth Social, begging China, France, Japan, South Korea, and the United Kingdom to send warships to save him from the mess he created. China, the country he has been in a trade war with for years, the country he slapped with sweeping tariffs, the country whose president he called a rival and a threat to American dominance. That China. Trump is now publicly asking that China to send its navy into a war zone to do what the most powerful military in human history apparently cannot do alone. That single Truth Social post is the most revealing document of this entire war, and it tells you everything. Welcome. Subscribe right now, because today, day 15, is the day the mask fully came off, the day the gap between what Trump said this war would be and what it has actually become is no longer deniable by anyone. Let's go. Here is what Trump posted Saturday morning verbatim. Many countries, especially those affected by Iran's attempted closure of the Strait of Hormuz, will be sending warships in conjunction with the United States of America to keep the strait open and safe. He named China, he named France, he named Japan, he named South Korea, he named the UK. Now here is what is extraordinary about that post. Trump did not say those countries agreed to send ships. He did not say they had been consulted. He did not say any deal had been struck. He said he hoped they would send ships. He expressed a wish publicly on social media to nations he has spent years insulting, tariffing, and threatening. He asked them for help with a problem he created without asking any of them whether they thought it was a good idea. France publicly called this war an extraordinary mistake before the first bomb fell. The UK's Prime Minister said he does not believe in regime change from the skies. Japan and South Korea are dependent on Gulf oil, but have no interest in being pulled into an American military adventure that their own populations overwhelmingly oppose. And China, the country whose navy Trump is now inviting into a strategic choke point in the Middle East, is simultaneously pushing for a ceasefire at the UN Security Council, sending its own special envoy to mediate, and watching with undisguised satisfaction as the United States burns its credibility, its resources, and its political capital in a war it cannot cleanly exit. Why would China send ships to rescue Trump from a war China privately believes is weakening America faster than any Chinese policy ever could? That question has no good answer, and every foreign policy expert watching this unfold knows it. But here is what makes this moment truly historic. The same day Trump was posting about warships and coalitions and China coming to help, Reuters was publishing a bombshell report based on 3 sources familiar with diplomatic efforts in the region. Trump's administration has been actively rebuffing efforts by Middle Eastern allies to start diplomatic negotiations to end the war. Egypt tried, Oman tried, Gulf states that are absorbing Iranian drone strikes on their own territory, that are watching their oil facilities burn, that are intercepting dozens of Iranian missiles per day. These countries went to Washington and said, "Let us help you find an exit." And Washington said no. No to diplomacy, yes to asking China for warships. That is the strategic logic of day 15. And then Trump gave an interview to NBC News, and what he said in that interview is one of the most staggering sequences of statements any president has delivered in the middle of an active military conflict. He said Iran is ready to make a deal. He said the terms are not good enough yet. He said he needed a very solid deal. He said a central requirement would be Iran's permanent abandonment of its nuclear ambitions. And in the same interview, when asked about the Strait of Hormuz, he insisted that Iran's military had been eliminated, totally, completely. And then, in the same breath, admitted it was still capable of attacking the strait. eliminated, still attacking, both true at the same time, according to the same man in the same interview, within 60 seconds of each other. And then he said this about Harg Island, the terminal through which 90% of Iran's oil exports flow, which U.S. forces struck the day before. We could do it just for fun. Just for fun. An act of war against a country's primary economic lifeline. Just for fun. While asking China and France to send ships to keep global oil flowing, while simultaneously saying the terms of a deal are not good enough yet. While 13 Americans are in the ground, while oil is above $100 a barrel, just for fun. Meanwhile, here is what is actually happening on the ground today, Saturday, March 15th, day 15 of this war. The U.S. Embassy in Baghdad was struck by Iranian missiles. Black smoke rose over Fujairah in the UAE, home to one of the most important oil storage terminals in the world, after Iran warned civilians to evacuate port areas minutes before the strike. Dubai's Marina neighborhood and Al Safouh beachfront area triggered interceptions. The UAE's defense ministry announced it engaged 9 ballistic missiles and 33 drones in a single day. Saudi Arabia intercepted 7 drones over Riyadh. Kuwait evacuated downtown areas and intercepted 4 ballistic missiles. Kuwait's Ahmed Al Jaber Air Base was hit, causing material damage. More than 2,000 people are now confirmed dead across the Middle East. Lebanon's health ministry says Israel's strikes are producing what human rights organizations call a humanitarian catastrophe. And Israel issued evacuation warnings for an industrial zone in Tabriz, Iran's second-largest city, signaling a major new strike is imminent. This is the war that was going to be over soon, that was won in the first hour, that was a short-term excursion. And there is one more detail from today that crystallizes exactly where this administration stands. The USS Nimitz, one of the oldest and largest warships in the American fleet, scheduled to be decommissioned in May 2026, just weeks from now, has had its service life extended to March 2027. The Navy is keeping a ship it was about to retire because America is at war and needs every carrier it has. The ship that was supposed to be heading to a museum is heading to a war zone instead. That is not a press release. That is a signal. A signal that the U.S. Navy does not believe this war ends as quickly as the man posting on Truth Social at 8 in the morning seems to think. Now let's zoom out completely, because the deepest truth of Day 15 is not the Nimitz extension or the Karg Island strike or the Truth Social post about warships. It is this. Both sides have now publicly said they are not ready to negotiate. Trump told NBC the terms are not good enough. Iran's Revolutionary Guard issued a statement saying the guards will not accept any ceasefire talks, or diplomatic efforts, and Iran's political leaders will not engage in such talks despite attempts by several countries. Both sides, no ceasefire, no talks, no exit. 15 days in. And in that vacuum, the vacuum between two sides who both say they are winning and neither of whom is willing to negotiate, the world economy continues to bleed. The strait stays closed, the oil keeps rising, the drones keep flying, the tankers keep sitting at anchor, the fertilizer keeps not shipping, the food crisis keeps building, and the USS Nimitz, the ship that should have been decommissioned by now, sails toward a war that has no end in sight. Trump asked China for help. China has not said yes. France called the war a mistake before it started. Japan and South Korea are trying to survive the energy crisis it created. And the Middle Eastern allies who offered to mediate were turned away by Washington before Iran could even get the message. On day 1, Trump said America would handle it. On day 15, he is posting on Truth Social asking the world to send ships. That is not strength. That is a man who started a fire and is now knocking on his neighbors' doors asking to borrow their hoses. Drop everything you are thinking in the comments right now. Do you think any country will actually answer Trump's call? Does this post prove he knows the war has turned against him? Subscribe to this channel immediately. Share this video with everyone who needs to understand what is really happening today. We will see you in the next one.